and welcome to today's episode of Pearls and Politics Podcast, where we are polished and poised for greatness and impact. My name is Kahala, and I'm your host. And let me just say, welcome again and thank you, as this is the very last episode of 2022 for Pearls and Politics Podcast. Our inaugural year, it has been amazing. It has been a blessing. It's been a labor of love. And I thank all of my political pearls and my political gents for an amazing 2022. So I hope and pray that you all have a safe and wonderful New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. Today, we will continue our journey into Black business and Black business ownership and Black women in business. And today, we have a dynasty of a diva with us today, the one and only Yashica McKinney.
Hi there. I am so happy to be here with you.
I am so happy that you are here with me.
Yes, ma'am.
In your red.
In my red.
And your 1913.
Oh, yes.
So let's just get into that. Are you a member of a Black Greek organization?
I definitely am. The devastating divas of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated.
All right. And please give your chapter a shout out, ma'am.
I shout out the East St. Louis Alumni Chapter, ESLAC. Woo woo.
All right. That's right. In the great city of East St. Louis, Illinois.
Yes.
Well, you are everything, okay, that you could ever be. As a Delta woman, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
We love you here at Pearls and Politics Podcast.
I love you all too.
And we were so ready, weren't we, Chris? We were like, oh my goodness, we got to get her on here because she has to tell the world her story.
Absolutely, and what a story it is.
So just go right ahead. Tell us all about Yashica, please.
Okay, so Yashica, we were talking about my name previously, and Yashica means success in Hindu. So I try to live up to that name. I try to be everything that I can be. And it also is a camera. The cameraman may know about a Yashica camera, but it is a camera. And my mom used to say I was pretty as a picture, so she named me Yashica. So that's my little backstory about the name. But again, my name is Yashica McKinney. I am from East St. Louis, the great East St. Louis, Illinois, the city of champions.
That's right.
And again, I try to live up to that. But who I am and what I am a baker. First and foremost.
I'm gonna try to keep it together. I'm gonna hold it. Let this woman tell her story. Okay?
And I am a cook. So, off the basis of piggybacking off of my cooking, I started, I guess when my son was 1, we moved out of my mom's house, and I said, I need to cook this young man, this little baby, some food. So we moved over in St. Louis, and I was over there by myself, and I began to make dishes. These dishes were all of the good soul food. We never ate noodles. We would always eat the fried chicken and the pork chops food. And the real food.
The comfort food.
Mm-hmm. But even a backstory to that, just growing up and being in the kitchen. I was the youngest of 4 siblings, and I never had an opportunity to cook with my parents because my siblings were 20 years older than I was like that baby. So I would just sit there and watch, but I never had an opportunity to participate in cooking. So once I became of age, I said, let me try this. Let me try some of the things that I seen with my aunt and my grandmother and my mother, and it worked. I was surprised.
It's working.
But the thing about it was I could never cook small portions. It would always be for a family of 4+, and it was only me and my son. So I would always invite my mom over, my sister over, come and eat. And they say, why would you cook all this food? And even to this day, I still can't cook in small portions, and it's just me now, 23 years later. But I started the journey out of a need for an extra income. I was like, I need extra money, and what can I do? And I knew that God had given me a gift with cooking. So I was on all of the assistance that a single mother could be on. I was on financial aid in school. I was on public aid. And I had a mentor, and I just reconnected with this mentor, but she gave me a paper, and it was a goal sheet. So it said, where do you see yourself short term? Where do you see yourself long term in 5 years? Where do you see yourself next month? And I would go to the public aid office. And I would fill out this paper for her, but not knowing it was more so for me, write the vision and make it plain. So I was writing down these things. I said, I want to go to school. I want to finish college. I have a son, so I want to be financially stable. I want a family. I want to one day own a business. I was writing these things before I even thought about it. It wasn't an idea, but I was like, this would be nice. If I could cook in a restaurant, that would be nice. So I would write all these goals down, and I would give them to her. She'll give me a copy, and I would go home and I would put them in my closet. Forget all about them. So just fast forwarding, I would start selling plates out of my house. But on the side, I would give a banana pudding and a caramel cake, a small portion. This is just your dessert for your food. So people would start asking, we want to buy the caramel cakes and the banana pudding.
We want the cake.
We want
the pan of banana pudding. We don't want the, okay.
So we didn't want the small portion. We want the whole thing. So I said, okay, well, I can make you a cake, or I can make you a banana pudding. And that's where the foundation was laid. It was before the desserts out the jar. It was before knowing the magnitude as to where the business would grow to. So I did that. It started in 2014. December 2014. That's when Desserts Out the Jar started. But prior to that, I would do different catering events and things like that. And again, always throw in the banana pudding and caramel cake. So I did have people calling. But again, we go back to the need for financial stability. And I wasn't making it. I had a full-time job. My ends were not meeting. I had a young child. He liked football and to all of the activities. And I was like, Lord, I can't do this. With the job that I had, I can't pay the bills and send him to the things that he wanted to do. So I said, let me go and get another job. So on top of my full-time job, on top of me going to school, because during that time I was going to pursue my bachelor's, I said, let me get another job. And I seen that a warehouse was hiring. So I said, I'm going to go and fill out an application. I actually knew a lady that was one of the hiring managers, and she said, just come on in and we'll take care of you. So it was October of 2014. And I said, the holidays are coming up. I'm in a perfect position to get this new job. I went to the interview, or what was supposed to be the interview. The door was locked. They said that they were opening in about 30 minutes. It was cold outside. So I was probably like the third person in line, had my coat on. So everyone started packing up to this door. And I was really non-confrontational at that time. We're going to put at that time. So at that time, I was very timid, and, people would come and they were getting in front of me. So I was moving to the side. Again, I was the third person there, but I was moving to the side for them. And when they opened up the doors, everyone started pushing in. Mm-hmm. So again, I'm stepping back. So everyone's pushing in, the line is going. And by the time I made it to the front door, they said, we're not taking any more people in. She said, look, it's packed to capacity. I said, I was about the third person here. She said, ma'am, well, why didn't you come in? And again, me being young, just being timid, I didn't know why. So she said, well, you can go online and apply and we'll get back with you. And I didn't understand it then. Mm-hmm. I went to my car. I didn't have any gas. But I had enough to make it back home. My sister was at my house with my son at the time. And I can remember going home and I was screaming to the top of my lungs. I said, God, I am trying. And I get teared up even now about it, because I've come so far. Yet I remember that struggle. And I was like, what is going on? I am trying. It wasn't like I wanted to be on public assistance. I was working a full-time job and I was still not making any money. So I made it back home. My sister said, well, how did it go? I said, I don't know. I didn't get the interview or whatever. She said, well, what about those cakes you make? Like, make those for the holiday. And I said, okay, I'll try it. At that point, I didn't want to talk about it. I'm like, whatever. So she said, make the cakes for the holiday. So I actually said that I would. Thank you. I actually said that I would make cakes for the holidays, and I started taking orders. So it was another AKA, one of my favorite people. She lives in Atlanta, and she came in and she said, I want to try your banana pudding. She said, but I can't eat a whole portion of it. She was into fitness and looking good, as you all do. And she said, I can't eat a whole portion of it. I said, well, I know that I'm going to make some for Thanksgiving. If you're here, then I can share mine with you. I said, I can put it in a Tupperware bowl. I just want you to taste it. She said, okay. And she ended up coming and leaving, and I wasn't able to connect with her. And I said, okay, Lord. I said, she asked for a smaller portion. I was laying in a bed one night. It was December 9th. I remember that, 2014. I was laying in a bed. I said, she asked for a smaller portion, and I was not able to get it to her. I said, what can I do? And as I was laying there, God said, put it in a jar. Now, I had never, ever heard of anything other than preserves or jellies and things like that in a jar. I said, a jar? I got up out of my bed. This is when Walmart was 24 hours because it closed at 7 o'clock now. But this is when Walmart was 24 hours. I got up out of my bed. It was about 10 o'clock at night. And I went and I bought the banana pudding ingredients. I bought a pack of jars, one pack of mason jars, which was 12. And I bought cheesecake, some cheesecake supplies, and the caramel cake that I usually do. And I baked till 2:30 that morning, making dessert jars. And when I got up that morning, I took pictures and I put ribbons on them, like for the holiday. I put ribbons on them. And I said, I'm going to post them in the morning. I end up posting them on December 9th at 6:30 in the morning. And from there, my life hasn't been the same.
And you've said so much in the time that you have shared your testimony, basically, with
Absolutely.
us. The struggles that so many of us have faced. I've been a single mom. It's never what you envisioned or what you thought.
Never.
But you have to press.
Yes.
The fact that you always wanted better, for not only for yourself, but for your child.
Absolutely.
And you were determined to come up with a plan. You weren't going to just let it chance you or anything. And I love it because faith without works is dead. And when we put the work with our faith, he will speak to you on a December evening so clearly and tell you, go put it in jars.
Put it in jars.
And you didn't ignore it. You did, I didn't really hear that. You were seeking. You said, I'm trying. You cried out, I'm trying. And I've been there because you're in a situation and it's not what you envisioned. But he told you some things. I tell people all the time that there are 3 scriptures on which I rebuilt my life when I was a widowed single mom. Double for my trouble, beauty for my ashes, and my latter will be greater. And I remember, like you, laying in the bed one night with a son, and I'm like, God, I'm not going to get mad, but I'm going to say this. You promised me those 3 things, and this is not double, beautiful, or greater. And now I'm going to go to sleep.
And sometimes, I don't mean to interrupt, but sometimes, a lot of people say we can't challenge God, don't ask questions.
Yes, you can.
I am not a believer of that.
No.
Because, again, I don't understand. And if he's my source, then who else am I going to ask? Who else am I going to talk to about it? So even though he may not answer right then and there, which it was 3 months later then, but it could be 3 months, it can be 3 weeks,
years.
it can be 3 years, but you have made your request known. Ask and you shall receive. Ask. I don't understand when people say we can't ask God. Who else?
I had no idea. All I know is the double that I see, the beauty that I see, the greater that I see. So people talk about overnight sensation. No. I toiled for this. I worked for this. Like I put my fleece out for this. And to see you today, hearing that, that's why I'm so glad you're here, because the world doesn't know that. You know that, your son knows that, your sister knows that, your family. But we need the world to know that we don't always have the perfect set of circumstances.
Right.
And if you don't like it, you have everything that you need with your source, who is the Lord, to change that. And you said, I want better. And look at you now. And this is such, you talking about tearing up. I'm sitting here like, oh, my goodness, I'm just floored.
It's so much that has transpired in the 7 to 8 years that I have been in business, or that I have been doing dessert jars. I never knew how to do desserts. Again, I cook food, so it wasn't. Now, if someone would have told me, okay, you're gonna, be catering, and yes, but to say that desserts has gotten me where I am, I wouldn't have ever imagined. And just think, if I was so strict on I'm only doing food and not wanting to pivot or try different things.
Pivot.
Yeah, even the story, like there's different stories that makes this a whole. I was selling the dessert jars, and I was selling them without a license, without a business license. And the city of it had gotten so big. I was on the news and didn't have a business license. The city of St. Louis contacted me, and they said, hi, this is so-and-so.
Hey.
Well, we want to know, about your jars. And I said, oh, yeah, I'm doing dessert jars. Well, we seen you on the news. I said, okay. They said, do you have a business license? I said, no. I just cook. She said, well, how about this? She said, I want you to be my guest and do our dessert table at our function, but also I want to guide you into getting your business license and the things that you need. And that's when God started putting people in place. I knew nothing. And still today don't care to know anything about the backstory. I want to cook. I want to make desserts, but God will put people in place. I remember I was a part of a group called Ferguson 1000, and it was a business group that highlighted entrepreneurs, Black entrepreneurs, and it was just a plethora of entrepreneurs that came together, and we talked and discussed about our business and business ideas and things like that. They partnered with Uber, and they wanted to do a pitch contest where you would get in the Uber car, and there would be a venture capitalist in the car.
I remember that now that you're talking about it, yeah.
Side note, God told me to get a notepad. He said, write everything down, because you're not going to remember all of the things
In that moment.
that I have done for you. And I want you to remember, so write it down. Again, write the vision, make it plain. But with the venture capitalists, you got a chance to be picked to get in a car with the venture capitalists, and they would give you either financial or resources, advice, and things like that. It was at their discretion. But I decided for myself that I did not want to participate. Again, non-confrontational. At that time, I didn't want to do that. So they were really trying to get me to, you should. I said, I will make you all desserts because we met at a certain place in Ferguson. I said, I'll make you all desserts, but I don't want to participate. I made the desserts, brought it to the entrepreneurs that were actually participating. They said, here, take this card. And just in case you change your mind when you leave here, you may want to participate. I packed all my stuff up. The entrepreneurs, they went out and they were supposed to go to certain areas and call to see if the Uber car was in their area. So got the card. I got in my car. I called the number. And it said, Uber driver is not available. I said, okay, I just wanted to see what it was going to say. I said, all right, Lord, then. Well, I love Cold Stone ice cream. Actually, I love Cold Stone. You like the jars. I like ice cream. But I love Cold Stone ice cream. And they had a place called Froyo that was in the Central West End that was similar to Cold Stone ice cream. And I said, well, I'm going to drive from Ferguson to the Central West End to get me some ice cream. Mm-hmm. That was going to be my treat for, serving the entrepreneurs today. So as I'm driving, I'm still thinking about this venture capitalist and what, it could be. I pulled into the parking spot in front of Froyo's. I said, I'm going to try it one more time. I called the number. And they said, a venture capitalist is on its way. Now, I was in Ferguson, and I drove to the Central West End. Now, people are going all around. They say they may be downtown. They may be they may be on the south side. Just go and call from the area that you're at. When I pulled in the parking lot of Froyo, it said, a venture capital. I said, what? I got nervous, started shaking. I said, well, I do got a couple of jars that's still in the car that I could get because I was not intending on participating. Mm-hmm. The venture capitalist pulled up in a big black SUV, and I had 3 minutes to tell him who I was and what I did. So the driver got out, let me in. It was a young man in there, and he said, okay, who are you and let's go.
What
we got going. And I went at it. I said, my name is Yashica McKinney. I am the owner of Desserts Out the Jar and More. We make cakes, puddings, and pies. I have over 30 different flavors, and this is your grandmother's recipe. I know that, when we were young, we would be in the kitchen and we would smell our grandmother's good apple pies and peach cobblers. I let him have it. In those 3 minutes.
Let him have it.
He told the driver, he said, keep driving.
I need more than 3 minutes.
I need more than 3 minutes. So he started asking me questions. Where are you at? I said, I have a setup in my kitchen. I said, I have moved everything out of my kitchen and my living room, and I have a factory going in my kitchen. He said, that's interesting. He said, well, I want to help you. I want to get you into a commercial kitchen where you can manufacture your products and sell them. He said, do you have a business license? And at that time, I said, yes, because I did. I was put in place. God was putting all of that in place.
Master.
I couldn't have written a better script for my life. So at that time, I went over on Washington. Mm-hmm. They had, and I think that's where we met. That's one of your questions, where we met. We met over on Washington. It was at Cafe Venture. I think it was over on Washington, and that was my first place where I did the commercial kitchen and the mass production at. And I was there for about 4 years.
Again, the continuation of an amazing story. And I just believe that it's going to inspire so many people, because so many times we wonder what our next step is going to be. Like, where are we going from here? I don't even know how I can even begin to find myself in a position like Yashica or anybody else, and to know that the steps of a good man and a good woman are ordered by the Lord.
Absolutely.
And he's going to send you to Froyo. He's going to tell you want ice cream, because he knows that the path of the Uber driver is coming to Froyo because you were like, I'm not gonna. And it's so many times you can think about in life where you were like, oh, I'm not doing that. And he's like, yes, you are.
Yes, you are.
And you don't hear it at first. And then you're like, I'm not doing it. Let me do this or do that. And he's like, yes, you are. And he will continue to have you keep turning corners, and you don't know you're turning corners till you turn back where it is that he wanted you to be. And you're just thinking, I'm just going to Froyo. Oh, I'm just going to, go to the gas station. But like somebody that you never know you needed is going to pull up behind you at the gas station and be like, oh, I like your hair. Oh, and then it's a whole conversation.
Absolutely.
So it's amazing. And again, I am very familiar with your product because I've always loved supporting you. So whether it was dessert drawers, I've met you in mall parking lots. I've met you've come.
That's a whole nother story. I would sell out of my trunk.
I would meet this woman in mall parking lots. Like she would post, on Saturday, tomorrow at noon, I'm going to be at Fairview Heights, Panera. And I'm like, I'm texting, I'm like, I'm on my way. Please don't leave, because when I tell you your product, no one can match your product. It is amazing from texture to taste, the quality of products, and your customer service. And so when I was the circuit clerk in St. Clair County, I used to do nice things for my staff all the time. So whether it was a hot chocolate bar or was this or that. And so what I would do, I would get big pans of banana pudding or her strawberry cheesecake or her strawberry banana pudding, and I would bring it to my staff, and they would have, something sweet to eat, something to let them know that I appreciated them. And I'm like, I can go 1,000 places, but what do we keep saying in our episodes? We want to go local, Black-owned business, Black woman-owned business. Why would I go anywhere else when I can call you? I can call a Delta from East St. Louis. I can call a mom. I can call you, someone with a testimony like that I can sow into your business for you to just continue to expand and be greater. Like, you help me, I help you. It's a win-win. And my staff loved her product, absolutely. And again, the jars, because the older I get, I'm like the AKA that you was talking about. I can't eat the pie. Back in the day, I would.
Exactly.
And Dr. Kanisha Bryant would get all on my head, telling me we can't do what we used to do.
Absolutely.
Like, you got to do better. And it's the perfect portion to get everything you need to calm your nerve. It's comfort food. It's everything.
Yeah.
It's everything. And like I said, from your customer service to your product, unmatched, man.
And customer service is so big to me. When I had employees, I've partnered with Slate. They have given me employees to work, and it's so big to me because, again, as Uncle Jay-Z say, you could be anywhere in the world, but you choose to be here with me, and I appreciate that. So we do understand that at Desserts at the Jar, you could be anywhere, but you keep coming back to me, and I appreciate it.
Exactly. So where are you now? So if we wanted to get some jars, if we wanted to get some pans, I know this last Thanksgiving, you were catering and you were putting it out there, and folks was, instead of cooking, they was Yashica in for Thanksgiving. How can we find you?
Well, I am on social media. I do know, another short story. In 2020, my mom passed, and that was kind of a tragic part of my life. Like, I didn't know whether I wanted to continue desserts. I didn't want to cook. It was in December. It was a very hard time for me. And I had a friend, and she worked for the homeless, and she's the director of the homeless program. And she said, we have a cook's position that's here, and you can use the kitchen to produce your product if you need to, but we want to feed the homeless. It was during COVID because it was in 2020. She said most of the volunteers, they're not coming, and the homeless people still need to be fed. Again, during that time, I did not want to be in the spotlight. Like, I just wanted to retract, but I wanted to do what my passion was, and that was cooking. It would soothe me during the days, and I would be in this big kitchen all by myself and just cooking up some stuff for the homeless people. And during that time, I said, you know what? God has taken me away to rebuild me. And he told me, he said, this is your years of service now. You know, you've done the part, you've been in a spotlight, you've won awards, you've done all of that. He said, but now just serve, relax and serve. And it was so relaxing to go and be able to cook for the homeless people and serve them every day. And that was a component of my life that I didn't have, you know, like the service.
The service aspect.
And it totally matched, because when I became a part of my organization, it was based off of service. Again, it's the book that we walk through. It's written out already for us. So at that time, I was serving and I was happy, and I said, you know what, I'm still going to do the desserts, but it was kind of let me get myself back together. So it did give me an opportunity to just kind of refocus, get myself back together. At the same time, my mom was passing, my son was becoming 21, and I'm like, these are the two people that I took care of. So it was kind of like redoing my life.
Transition.
Oh my gosh, it was a major transition for me. So I didn't even know what I wanted to do, how I wanted to do it, but slowly but surely God is easing me back into it. And I can really tell by this past Thanksgiving, I'm like, oh yeah, he throwing me back in the fire tough, you know. He said, you done had a year or two to kind of get yourself back together. Now it's time to get back out there. But right now, we were at 2 different restaurants. One was Cluster Buster. They just closed down about a month ago. He's transitioning into a new position. And then also, it is Food for Your Soul. I can't think of the name right now, but CNC. I don't know. That was on the tip of my tongue. CNC. So we were over in Belleville, and we would sell our desserts out of those 2 restaurants. But now,
I purchased your
desserts from the restaurant. Well,
never from Cluster Busters, but absolutely from CNC.
Yep. So I had one over here in St. Louis, one in Belleville, and usually do for the holiday seasons at the Galleria, St. Clair Square.
I purchased from there.
So we will be getting back into the mode of going into those different entities and venues. But right now, we're still at the Commercial Kitchen. So it's actually 2 blocks up from where we're filming at now. But yeah, I sell my desserts and manufacture them out of the kitchen on Wyoming and on the south side.
So in addition to your dessert jars and your soul food and your catering, you also do cakes now.
So let me tell you the story about the cakes.
Okay, tell us about these cakes, because the cake you did for me with my best friend Cross at the end of last year, it went viral on TikTok. Everybody, it was the most amazing pink and green Alpha Kappa Alpha cake you ever wanted to see, and it was pink and green on the inside.
It was pink and green.
It was amazing. So please tell us about the cakes.
During the pandemic in 2020, no one was able to go out. So no one was purchasing 1 jar or 2 jars here. So I went back to my source. I said, okay, God, what we gonna do? What can we do? And he said, make a cake.
I love the way he just speaks to you.
When you ask,
that is true,
and your heart is right, and you are sincere about it and genuine. And I be so sincere when I come to God, because I don't know.
Daddy, please.
I really don't know what I'm doing. Like, help me.
Just out here living.
So, you know, I baked a cake, and I never knew how to decorate. I never went to a class. I never had a cake mentor. I baked a cake. And when I tell you, I made the most money in 2020 that I have made in the 7 years of working. And I contributed because I couldn't go traveling and doing the things that I like. that I would want to do or that I would spend my money on. I was able to pay off debt. And I mean debt that I've had since I was in my 20s. I was able to pay it off.
A lender, not a borrower.
They would send cash at me the payment or send me the payment, and I would send it right to the creditor.
Where it needed to go.
Where it needed to go. It was a year of discipline, and God was really showing himself, like really proving. So like I said, I never made a cake. I self-taught. Till this day, I still ask. I'll get a cake order, and I'll be like, I have no clue. Some of my customers say, I'm going to let you freestyle. I'm like...
That's what I said. You were like, oh, that would be so nice if you would just let me go, girl.
It would be so nice because
girl.
in the end, I never know what I will come up
Beautiful.
with. And I say, God, I need an idea. And he would give it to me.
And it tasted beautiful. Food is my peace. So it may not look like it, but when I tell you I love to eat and
Absolutely.
I love comfort food, I would come down from the courthouse when you were on the SIUE campus, and I would come for lunch and get your food and your jars. And I just love to eat. And so to have good customer service, plus the good food aspect of it, I just love it. And you have such a beautiful spirit and a beautiful heart. So I can call you, I can text you, and you're gonna. Now it may take a little second, but you a busy one. But you are busy. You are booked and busy, and I love it. But she gonna get back to you, and it's gonna be in a timely manner. Yeah. And if you are available, which you typically are, you're gonna get a handle, and it's going to be everything that you wanted it to be.
Absolutely.
And your family, your friends are going to be pleased.
Yep.
And it's just amazing.
It has been an amazing journey. I promise you. And the thing about it is it's not over. Like, I'm so excited, and sometimes I get nervous.
What is your vision? What is your vision? Because it's only up from here. So we just going to be clear about that.
It's only up from here. So what I have written down in my goal plan and I constantly do it. You know, every year I'm updating it because I'm like, okay, I did all of that. I got my degree. Got a degree and barely use it, but... You know, that it happens like that sometimes. But I was like, what do I want to do now? And it's going to be a restaurant, where you can get the food and the desserts all in one. The customer service. You see how that come together? The food, the desserts, the customer service. I can't wait.
All from the source.
So I'm like, okay, God, what you want me to do now? Who are you going to bring in my life now? Where is this place going to be? So I'm so excited. I've been asking, and he said, finish that service piece that I told you to, because you're going to need it where you're going. I'm excited about it.
Well, I am so excited about where you're going. Like I said, it's only up from here. You have the skill, you have the license, you have everything that you need, but most importantly, your focus is on the Lord, and you're like, he's going to guide me, he's going to lead me, and he's going to give me everything that I'm going to need. And I am so excited, and I cannot wait. And you will have to come back before you launch, when you launch, after you launch. We'll have to, I'm sure Urban Eats is going to want to come to your spot and do it.
Come and set up.
And we're going to have sisters in the law lunch or dinner at your spot.
Absolutely.
It's just
we putting it out there.
It's going to be great. It's going to be great. Thank you so much.
No problem at all. I'm so happy.
For coming on today to share your story, to tell us all about what you do. So now we can go on all of her social media platforms and we can like, love, and share.
Absolutely.
And we can be on the lookout for this amazing restaurant that's coming to this region.
Yes.
That's going to give us everything we need, all the good eats.
All the good eats. One-stop shop.
And in the meantime, we will continue to love and support all that you do.
Absolutely. I appreciate it.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much. And thank you for tuning in today to Pros in Politics Podcast, where we are polished and poised for greatness and impact. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and we hope and we pray as the new year comes about that you will have a safe and fun and maybe relaxing New Year's Eve, and we will see you again in 2023. Thank you, and in the meantime, please like, love, share, and subscribe. See you in 23.